Good morning. Happy Sunday. It's me, Teri Hunter, here on my channel. It is 11 a.m. Pacific time, and we are traversing the transits. And what an amazingly great week I think it's going to be. We have some really fun, yummy energies in the skies. It feels like a nice reprieve from what we've had in previous weeks and months. So, let's talk a little bit about what's going on because I think it's very interesting. Good morning, Juan. The first thing that my first note was that Mars and Neptune are making a sextile at the 22nd degree. And, there's a little bit of challenges considered with the 22nd degree. But I also think there's some sort of synergy with all these twos that we're experiencing in the year of 2022. So let's think of the 22 degree or the 22nd degree as a degree of partnership and cooperation, where on the 23rd, when Mars and Venus become sextile, Neptune and Mars become sextile, we're going to see this as a great energy for creativity, for romance, for a sense of renewal and spirituality and being willing to take action on that, because the next day Venus sextiles Neptune and Mars is conjunct Venus. So let's look at Mars. Oftentimes we talk about Mars as the angry ball, the blunt one, the warrior energy. But what about the pioneer? What about the courageous energy that's willing to look at and take action on whatever the conversation with Venus is? Because it could be about a couple things. It could be about romance, absolutely, and your relationships and your viewpoint and perspective of relationships. It could be about your self-worth and about how you actually perceive yourself receiving abundance in the world. It could be about your possessions and about what you want and moving forward with allowing yourself the privilege to take action and have courage to start to expand your world while everything else seems like it might be closing in. Because we also have, which I think is super fun, is the Venus-Mars conjunction on Friday is going to be trining the nodes. And we know the nodes are a fated point. They reference, and I want to say destiny on some level, but I believe it's a co-creation of destiny. It's an opportunity to make decisions and to reach karmic corners that allow us to evolve within a situation versus repeating it. Because we also have this whole time going on is Uranus squaring Mercury, and Uranus is in Taurus. So I think overall, this is how I kind of perceive this week as an opportunity to really look at what you need, what you require, how you feel about love, romance, companionship, about your self-worth, about what your ability is to move forward in your story in life, and then to allow yourself the privilege of digging one step deeper. The step deeper to me is, where is Neptune potentially creating muddied waters where my value is dependent upon another person's opinion, an audience chiming in, a validation from outside. Because I very much think that this is in Capricorn. So being in Capricorn, it is about restructuring things. It's about standing in leadership. It's about bringing these ideas into the material world. Then I started thinking about Mars being exalted in Capricorn. And oftentimes when you hear about a Mars-Saturn conjunction or Mars-Saturn square, it's all edgy and tension and, Saturn pulling Mars back and Mars wanting to race forward. But I think there's a bigger cooperation here that nobody is seeing, which is why Mars is actually exalted in Capricorn, because it's willing to break the old structures that don't work, pioneer into new territories, all the while digging deeper to my deepest truth and trying to rewrite the structures so that we happen to come into this energy with a new perception and a new sense of strength and courage in our ability to manifest. So yes, we have the USA Pluto return has begun officially. And I believe it's officially. Are we at 27 degrees Pluto today? I don't have my phone. I actually, small wildflowers, I put my phone on airplane mode so your ears would not get damaged on Sunday mornings. But I want to offer this because I'm very excited about this week's energies. It feels like the greatest energies we've had in a long time. And I want to say this for creativity, for using, Neptune rules photography, it rules film, it rules imagination, it rules dreamy stuff. So as we take action boldly on the concepts that are still not necessarily in the material world, but using the idea that Mars and Venus are in Capricorn. So they're in the landscape, in the environment for creating this structure, all the while having these yummy conversations with the friends next door saying, we support your endeavors. So good to see everybody in the chat. Thank you. Welcome, Joshua, and Nicole, Natalia, Michelle Howe, Michelle Noya, Janine, 145 Club, Nicole, Stephen, great to see you. Welsh Roses, great to see you. So excited to see you all here. Okay. So, and this is what I want to say too, because when I was thinking about the conjunction between the nodes at 26 degrees and, hey, Les, I was actually thinking about you this morning as I was getting ready and wondering if you would find us here as we've very Uranusly moved onto my channel. And I want to say this too, because there's nothing wrong with the old channel. I just felt like it was time for me to stop hiding behind the old channel. I think that this is what Venus retrograde in Capricorn had me do, was reviewing my own sense of self-worth and where I may have inadvertently thought that being a small fish in a big pond was better than being a big fish in a small pond. And then courage took over. And I said, it's time to walk the talk. So this is how we got over here. And we got some fun things going on that you'll see us, me, myself, all my personalities, and my Batman to my Robin. I'm not going to disclose who that person is until I get their permission, but they're helping me create some fun content and some fun things for you guys to explore, more stuff. To empower you, to make you feel like the driver of your own life. So this is this. Okay. Yeah, life is short, man. And it's shorter the more fun you're having. It's super long when you're not happy. All right. That's that Aries energy. Okay. Now, wait, there's one other thing I've been thinking about. So I have all these crazy astrological thoughts going in my head. And I'm always breaking the rules in some respects because I want to lift these aspects into their higher vibrations. So I started thinking about some of the connections that I have and synergy. And oftentimes we look at the moon, how we work emotionally through the moon, or we'll look through the nodes. But I noticed recently in some of the synergy that I have is that I have Mars and the sun within 3 degrees, 4 degrees in Libra. And there is the person that I've started working with, their rising sign is ruled by the sun. My rising sign is ruled by Mars. So here they are in cooperation, in the sign of partnership, in the sign of peace. For me, in the sign of harmony, in the sign of that's ruled by Venus. So I started to think that there's more to these synergistic ideas. Maybe when we're looking at how we would work with someone else or how we would commingle our ideas with somebody, maybe we should look at our rising signs and then the rulers of those rising signs and how they connect within the chart. Because I just feel like I just keep seeing Plutonian layers deeper and deeper and deeper that we're missing through the key words that we tend to use for these planets and these aspects. I was thinking about the squares and how they create friction. But you need friction when you're sanding down wood and softening the edges of something and making it more palatable or beautiful or functional, whatever it is. So as you're walking through this particular week and you're seeing on the 23rd, so today is the 20th. So we're going to start to see the movement through Capricorn with Mars. And start to think about, what do you want in the way of your romance? Hey, Tebow, welcome to the room. We haven't seen you in forevers. Who else? I wanted to say hi to, hi, Jules. Hi, blessed one. Okay, I interrupted myself. As y'all know, I do that often. But I want to offer this because whether you're in romance or not, whether you're in a long-term relationship where the romance seems to have maybe waned, I want to offer thinking about romance in a way that starts to set an intention for moving the story forward. Because as I start to think about romance, hearts and flowers is fun, but connection, perception, common goals, understanding of the ebb and the flow of me and who I am as a human, and giving me some space and time to process certain things or to have certain reactions and not to have my character pinned on that moment. I really think that's what Neptune is giving us, an opportunity to look at relationships from a more spiritual point of view, from a point of view is rather than being, how am I being treated, thinking, well, how do I want to show up in the face of being treated? I recently had somebody ghost me, and it wasn't a client. It's actually somebody we might all know on a peripheral level. And my Mars wants to react to that in a way that's sort of snarky. And the idea of my ruling planet coming together is really about, who do I want to be and how do I want to show up? It's really not about resisting feeling hurt or feeling dismissed or feeling a lack of value, as much as, do I want to put the bad on me by behaving in a way that doesn't represent who I've evolved into, hence Mars in the lower energies? Or do I want to leave the bad in their court and just learn how to stand on my Venusian energies, which is my Taurus moon and my Libra sun? So as you walk through this week, are you hiding your own creativity? Are you in some way diminishing yourself because you're not being validated from the outside world? Because I believe when you start to validate yourself and let the spiritual dynamic of Neptune be, where you can say, I do this for the love of it, not for the outside applause, not for the money of it, and you continue to move forward, then I think this square between Uranus and Mercury could very much liberate you, could very much bring about unexpected news and opportunities that may initially feel like, oh my gosh, you're putting me in a situation where I have to choose. And it's the choice between an old dynamic or allowing yourself to move into the new dynamic that you've been calling forth, but there's a little of the unknown, a little bit of the unsureness. You're going to have to depend on your sense of trusting yourself and moving forward. Hence, I go back to the twos now, because we've got Mars and Neptune in a sextile at 22 degrees. Then we're going to have Venus joining that sextile at 22 degrees. We have the idea that we're ending the month. Today is 2/20/22. All of these twos are not about, to me, partnership and cooperation with the outside world, as much as me calling forth my partnership and cooperation with the universe, as above, so below. So I'm going to focus in not what I'm experiencing now, but what I'm calling forth in my experience. And I'm going to trust that the universe is working in alignment. So when there is no apparent action from my point of view, what I can see, this is where the Venus part of this conjunction is about receiving, the feminine, receiving and trusting that that will happen. So I know, Joshua, seeing twos everywhere. I really think that there is this opening in the human experience. It feels very akin to the industrial age where we became much more mobile. But this time, rather than being mobile in our physical world, moving our pieces around, we're going to become more mobile in our spiritual worlds and moving into this alignment with how am I showing up for myself in this moment? Because one of the things I've noticed is the law of attraction allows me to bring experiences to me, but how much am I actually taking them in? So am I able to receive my happiness? Am I able to trust that happiness? Do I feel safe within that happiness? Or when good things happen, do I inadvertently get triggered into feeling like something bad is going to happen? Because if you think about Mars coming into a sextile with Neptune, this is a time of courage in romance. This is a time of thinking maybe something's happening that has nothing to do with me, or maybe something's happening that is beyond my control. And by holding a line of faith that whatever is happening is for the highest and greatest good of all of us, revealing whatever elements, ingredients, dynamics, characteristics need to be in place for the true happiness of all parties involved. I'm absolutely convinced that we are 3/4 spiritual and we utilize the physical experience to support those spiritual concepts. When you have no body, you cannot sing. When you have no body, you cannot connect with others in the same way you can when you're making the brave choices that the physical experience requires. It is part of the story. It's part of the human experience that truly affords the experience of empowerment, of achievement, of romance, of love, of luxury, of glamour. Oh, and speaking of glamour, if indeed anyone's thinking of having a makeover, what a great week to do that. If you want to get your hair cut, you want to have any sort of little for sprucing yourself up, go get some new clothes, maybe get some new potions and lotions. That's always fun. Really do your best to sort of, I feel like this is Valentine's week. Honestly, I really do. So enjoy this week. Take advantage of it. And if you're like me and you're not really in any sort of intimate relationship, let your creativity just flow and enjoy it. Okay, here we go. Let's start with our. No, Thibaut, you're gorgeous just the way you are. You don't need any sort of augmentation, just your smile. All right, here we go. Let's start as usual with our Pisces. And thank you once again to Juan for always doing the timestamps. They will be posted after the show. And of course, thank you, Small Wildflowers, for being the hostess with the mostest. All right, here we go. Pisces, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Your ruling planet is having conversations this week. And I think these conversations could be very exciting. So don't swim away from them. Swim towards them. I've been studying Stephen Forrester's books, and I really like him because he gives you this opportunity in evolutionary astrology to look at the bones and then use your own intuitions to capitalize on it. And he talks about when two planets coming together, they literally fuse as one when they're exact. And on Friday, Mars and Venus will be exact at 23 degrees. So I want to offer this as the Aquarian degree to truly liberate yourself in your actions, your viewpoint, your courage, your willingness to receive whatever it is that Venus represents for you, whether it be, fluffing up your home, trusting in love, and digging deeper and deeper into how potentially, if you're having a little bit of a challenge believing in love, are you in some way participating in pushing it off? Because we're always co-creating. There's absolutely no doubt about that in any way. All right, here we go. Lucy Rose, you're having your solar return. Happy solar return. And if during your solar return, Venus and Mars are conjunct, that seems very exciting to me. That could birth all sorts of fun stuff. Definitely birth some new structure for you. All right, Pisces, here we go. Your ruling planet and your best friend are talking this week, okay? Because your best friend, Venus, loves hanging out with you in your house. She loves coming and having slumber parties with you. So let's see. Our first angel for our Pisces is Archangel Michael, asking you to have the courage to know you're being protected, to move toward your divine life's purpose. Now, the one little thing about Pisces is because it's ruled by water, it tends to fill whatever vessel it's poured into. So now it's time to go shopping in some sort of luxury, glass crystal store and pick your vase and make sure it's one you think is beautiful and you love. Because Rochelle is saying it's time to follow your heart in a big way and prosperity will come. Your guides are here encouraging you. This is also Neptune, the connection to the angelic realm. And then we have Merlina. And Merlina, for me, while it'll talk about confusion and indecision, there is always a point of confusion and indecision as we step into the energy of courage. You can't have courage or be brave when you know what the outcome's going to be. It's not how it works. And those elements of courage and bravery, that's all where excitement and achievement come in. Okay, here we go. Joining Archangel Michael Pisces is the disruption card. Joining Rochelle is the horse. Joining Sonia is the earth fairy. And joining Merlina is the fire fairy. So as I look at this, Pisces, you're such a mutable cooperative sign that people might actually get a little like, what? You have a want? You have a desire? You have an idea? You don't want to do what I want to do? You don't want to la 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 la, whatever. So I feel like you have to have the courage to invite in disruption. And the disruption might be somebody's reaction to your wants and desires. But remember, disruption is the doorway to your dreams. And courage is the energy that makes them happen. Because Spirit is asking you to start to go into a new direction, to really look at the horse, to allow yourself the Sagittarian energy of the horse, to allow yourself to think, Jupiter's transiting through Pisces right now, because it really is time to gallop towards your heart's desires and to really think about that. Because oftentimes the very first thought is our heart's desires. And then we boomerang back into, well, how will I make it happen? What's gonna, what pieces what actions? I have clients who are always saying, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? And my whole thing is don't do anything until you align your being energy, your belief, your attitude, your disposition. Because right now, the earth fairy is saying in order to truly move forward, Pisces, you have to ground in your connection to Neptune, to your spirituality, to the higher vibrations that create this universe. There are literally laws of the universe that when you apply them, manifest immediately. So now it's time for Pisces to really start to, rather than try to figure out how to take action, it's allowing for creative action, that optimism. So you may be filled with ideas. I personally found myself suddenly very inspired. And part of it was because I have created this partnership with somebody to help promote the channel, to create good content for you. And I feel a synergy. So where before I was like a little timid and shy to go in and explore how to do things, the connection with this other person has made me braver. So I want to offer Pisces this opportunity to feel brave and allow the disruption not to be the literally, the rug being pulled out from underneath you and you falling into a sinkhole, but rather the idea that disruption is doing something different than what you're used to. And that's where Mars comes in and where Venus comes in, because that's when you get to say, what do I love? How do I value myself? Awesome, Stephen. Congratulations on your second interview. Putting out to the universe. Thank you. This job is going to create my happiness because I know you're a Pisces. Then move the story forward. I always say that to Spirit. If this is aligned for me, then give me the heart to move it forward and the resources and whatever I need to be courageous in that endeavor. But if not, let me move away from it. Okay. Here we go. On to our Aquariuses. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Wow, Shelley, congratulations. And 12 years, what a poignant number that is. There's so much, you know that I watch the History Channel and all those ancient aliens and the, alien theorists and all this. And 12 throughout history is a significant spiritual number. There's so many things aligned, obviously the zodiac, and the disciples and a dozen, that kind of thing, a baker's dozen, whatever. So, all right, let's go on to our Aquarius. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. I always like to start with the angels. All right, here we go. Aquarius, our first angel is Opal. The second is Athena. The third is Teresa. And the final is Astera. Oops. Let's see what Opal's referring to. Because this Opal, when I look at Opal, she talks about your children being safe on heaven and earth. And obviously not all of us have children. So I always interpret it, especially when it's for a broadcast like this, as my inner child. So let's see. Opal is being joined by the protection card. Athena is being joined by the love card. Teresa is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. And Astera is being joined by the burden card. Okay. This is what I want to say about my Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. One of the things that has really occurred to me recently is about the law of allowing. And I have so many beautiful, wonderful elements in my life. And then sometimes, especially, Lucky's finally on the crazy good side of whatever we were going through. But during that period, I couldn't seem to find the good things in my life. I kept focusing on the challenges, and feeling like I wasn't really moving my story forward or letting my inner child play, have fun, and live happiness. So as I recognized that, I thought, it's time to invite in my happiness. And I started to say to Spirit, thank you for letting me feel safe when I'm happy. Because I remember right before Lucky got sick, I remember saying to him, God, you're so good. You're so, everything's so good. And then I had this fear bubble. And that's that dual thought thing. It's so human. So Aquarius, I think that's your inner child. And I think it's time to really call upon Spirit to help you to feel safe as you lovingly move towards things that are revolutionary for you. Because I think this is much more than just about intimate love. I think it's about all the things you love. I think it's about taking action on all the dynamics. Venus rules so many things. She rules money. She rules art, beauty, makeup. She rules luxury, glamour. She rules self-worth. I mean, it's just so many things. And so I feel like Teresa is saying to Aquarius, it's time to start worrying. It's time to dig to the deeper truth, because while you do rule, large networks of people, you don't need to get lost in that network, that you deserve to be a unique portion of that network. Because I think right now, Aquarius may have been feeling challenged, and maybe that's because Saturn is traversing your house right now. So maybe Saturn is really kind of eroding that sense of excitement or that sense of moving forward. And if indeed that's taking place, because we have the burden card here, and then we have Astera saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires. So I want to offer it this way for my Aquariuses this week. While all these transits feel super yummy, if for some reason they're illuminating the lack thereof of the relationship, the resources, etc., the things that the Mars-Venus conjunction are going to bring, then it's your opportunity to say to Spirit, I am ready, willing, and able to feel safe as you bring me these things. And starting to call it forth, because I think that there's this inadvertent, sometimes we get stuck in a loop of unhappiness that we're actually used to, or a loop of poverty, or a loop of whatever the negative thing that's happening, but we're used to it. So while it bothers us, while we can cry about it, while we can complain about it, we kind of know where the bottom is with it. So it can only hurt us so much. So there's a sense of vulnerability coming out here with Aquarius. And I want to offer it this way, because part of this vulnerability may be the square between Mercury and Uranus. And the idea that there could be unexpected news. Mercury and Uranus are of the same vibration. So even if they're having a tense friction-based conversation, it's to dig down to a deeper thing and to liberate. So call forth your inner child, allow that inner child to swim around or to fly through space. Let's put it that way. Let's allow yourself to go where no man has gone before in your musings, and then spirit will start to bring you evidence that is there. And in doing so, if indeed something you thought you wanted moves out, then there was something about that was not aligned to the deeper truth of what you want and what is good for your long-term goals. Okay. Okay, here we go. On to our Capricorns. I just want to see where Lucky was. Okay. I agree. I think, Stephen, something bigger and better is coming. And I also feel like, regardless of, I know you were talking about a different situation, but I want to offer this because I feel as if in the polarization of the United States Neptune return, there's going to be a large group of people, and I assume and intend for us as a tribe to be part of that group that actually thrives through the challenge. In watching so much history, I really love Henry Louis Gates on PBS. And he really illuminates history in a way that shows that while there were atrocities during the years of slavery, there were people all the way back in the 1600s who were free and thrived. And yes, they had challenges, but I believe that's part of the vibrational polarization, the representation. And the human, as we go into Capricorn, tends to focus on what restricts, what isolates, what depresses, what limits. So I really want to offer the idea that you start saying to yourself, I'm representing the polarization and I'm representing the higher vibration of that, so that others may be inspired by my example. Thank you, Carola. Did I say that right, Carola? That's how it looks to me. So glad to see you. Welcome, everybody. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, shameless plug here. Again, we're going to have some fun content coming up in the very near future. We've been working diligently on making things happen. All right, Capricorn. Finally, our first angel is Merlina. The second is Fiona. The third is Vanessa, and the final is Crystal. Capricorn, Merlina is being joined by the dog. Fiona is being joined by the focus card. Vanessa is being joined by the frog. And Crystal's being joined by the mystery card. My Capricorn, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. This is really, really pretty crazy, because I believe that Capricorn is having a little bit of struggle with love right now, because I think that there are certain dynamics where Capricorn wants to release the restrictions, release the rules, but because of the nature of the energy of Capricorn is having a little bit of trouble. Because here the dog represents love, loyalty, unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity. And there's Merlina, confusion. So if for some reason you're a Capricorn moon and you've experienced disruption in your love life, or if you're Capricorn sun or rising, it's an opportunity for you to sit back and really not try to make a decision. It's an opportunity for you to sit back and focus on what you really want in a relationship. Fiona says, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving them. And one of the things that Capricorn has a little trouble with is faith, because you're action oriented. You want to see it in the material world. You don't want to see it out there in the conceptual world. But faith is going to offer you an opportunity to really get an emotional cleanup. And I think that there's things that you want and things that are transpiring. Now, think all this action is happening in your house. So this sextile to Neptune can really offer you an opportunity to remove the illusions and to find the spiritual nature within how you love, how you give love and how you receive love. Because in the final position is Crystal saying, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon that you can't see, more happiness. And now it's time for you to actually choose that happiness in the midst of your confusion. So this is what I want to offer. As I look at this, I feel as if, Mars is exalted in Capricorn, which is kind of funny because, there's a tendency, at least in my experience of astrologers, to make Saturn and Mars sort of always arguing with each other, one wanting to slow down, the other wanting to move forward, as I said earlier. But there's a cooperation. There's something about the mentor and the apprentice. There's something about the master and the knight, So I feel as if this is going to be revealed for my Capricorns. There's going to be a revealing that it's not just about how you receive love, but how you've been giving love. And that you are much more loving than maybe you've been able to represent. So now you're just going to have to sort of sit back a little bit and focus in on allow God and the angels to bring you this moment of emotional shift. It's an emotional shift for you to understand that it isn't really what happens to you. It's the choices that we make in relation to what happens to us. Because I think that what you really want, you may be a little stuck right now in the rules of how it should look instead of how it should feel. And I feel like it's your choice now to make a decision to give yourself a little bit of a break, because emotions are not tangible. They're not really controllable. And in doing so, I think that you'll be able to find more peace, more harmony, more Venusian energy in your love life. Okay, let's go on to our Sagittariuses. All right, here we go. Okay, here we go. I love Ronald Dahl, Stephen. He was my favorite. He wrote James and the Giant Peach too, which I loved. And obviously, I think didn't he write Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Yes, Joshua, it is a faith in the unknown, but it's also a faith within your higher self that there's a bigger picture going on and that your little human mind and body can't see it. And that's why I feel like it's so powerful that faith is really more about an intention. It's like, you know what? I just intend for this to happen. And now I just have to let the universe bring the elements in place. And then I have to make the hard decisions sometimes of not settling for what I know is safe. All right, Sag, here we go. Our first angel is Indriel. The second is Aurora. The third is Ariel. And the final is Azure. Oop. Indriel's being joined by the owl. Aurora's being joined by the movement card. Ariel's being joined by the spider. And Azure's being joined by the horse, which I think is very interesting because I think of that as a Sagittarian energy. So for my Sagittarian, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, I really feel when I look at Indriel as if the idea that Neptune and Jupiter are transiting Pisces right now. You naturally, Jupiter in ancient times ruled Pisces. There's some cooperation going on here with this idea of being within this energy that allows me to have an epiphany, the Indriel, about duality, about the contrasting experiences. I really, I don't feel victim to them. I actually feel powerful as a result of them, because Aurora says to our Sagittarius rising moon, sun, and stelliums, you're flying high right now. Don't descend, but you will soon inspire others. And there's the movement card. And to me, I feel like this is like a point in your life, Sagittarius, where you're looking and you're going, okay, that didn't happen. All right, there must be something better. Or why didn't that happen? Or, oh, I get it. I remember years ago, I was in this new relationship with this guy I'd met at my boss's house at a party. And we'd been dating a couple of months. He was a recovering person. I didn't have any issues with that. And he said to me, I'm going to go to the Kentucky Derby. And I'm like, oh, great. Have fun, And he's like, well, I'm really scared if I go, you won't be there when I get back. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Go have fun with your friends. He came back with a new girlfriend. Okay, totally dumped my ass. 6 months later, he'd fallen off the wagon. He stole all of her shit and ended up hijacking a car at LAX and thrown in jail. Now, let me tell you what happened before all that revelation. I cried. I was dumped. Again, my old story. Okay, you're going to have to get past your old story, because somehow you're being saved through duality. I just have to say it. That's kind of a big story, but I got a lot of big stories, because I think this is really where the Jupiterian teacher comes out, because you're willing to continue moving forward with what you want, because your connection to spirit is strong. And you're starting to really put into place like that question. Okay, I've been down this road a few times before. What does spirit? Where's my oversoul taking over to make sure I don't get off track to what I really want? And I stay in relationship with spirit, because Azure is telling Sagittarius that your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith. And then when I look at the horse today, I do think just what it says. This is about accepting help from spirit and delegating to spirit, so that you can see the wisdom and then allow for the new energy to come in. So that's like, Stephen, you didn't get that first job. Tomorrow you have a second interview. Maybe this is really the great job. And maybe this really great job isn't just about the work that you'll be doing, but about the people that you'll be meeting, and about how they may be open to other elements of what you enjoy, like astrology. I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but the last job that I had, unbeknownst to me, I went to work for a chiropractor. There was a psychologist upstairs, and she would come down to the chiropractor. And I don't know, she said a few key words to me, and I was like, And so next thing I know, I find out that she's literally a spiritual reader. And then she introduces me to this guy where she does this fair, and then I start doing the fair. So you don't know how spirit, through this random weird place, a chiropractor, who would think that you can move your story forward. So pay attention. Relationships somehow are in the air. They're not all just love relationships. Hey, Miriam, great to see you here. Welcome, welcome. Did I ever say hi to you, Lucy Rose? If I didn't, I apologize. Did I miss anybody else? I hate when I miss people. You guys know that. Okay, here we go on to our Scorpios. Oh boy. Scorpio, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Fabulous, Stephen. I'm so excited because that's a ripple effect, And I feel like we're all here kind of creating this energy together as a tribe. And I really think we're going to experience some pretty surprising Uranian things, but not from the dark side, from the light side, because we are the lighthouses and it's our time. And so our biggest job right now is to stop working on our crap, our shit, pardon my language, and start to invite in our happiness and to know it's safe. And the safety comes from looking for the wisdom if for some reason something scoots out. Something better is coming. All right, Scorpio, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Indriel. There we go again. illumination. And there's Chantal, romance is coming. There's Teresa, and finally Ray. Mood swing Scorpio. That's funny. Did you buy yourself chocolates for Valentine's Day, Small? I bought myself earrings. Little earrings. I didn't wrap them up or anything. I should have. Okay. Indriel is being joined by the movement card, Scorpio. Chantal is being joined by the letting go card. Teresa is being joined by the horse. And Ray is being joined by the raven. Well, this is very interesting. I'm going to pull a clarification card on the last, because I want to know what the synchronistic magic is about. Okay, the High Priestess. I want to offer this to my Scorpios. Right now, I feel as if when I look at Indriel again, this is an epiphany. I see the epiphany, but it isn't about being a light worker. It's about understanding the ebb and the flow of contrast. It's about seeing that sometimes movement comes when there is apparently no movement. It's almost as if Scorpio gets this opportunity to take Mars's energy, which is your ancient ruler, and Pluto. The two things they have in common is this willingness to dig down to the deeper truth. And is the deeper truth the opportunity that there are things that are happening that I can't see? Because Pluto's going to say, yes, of course there's things happening you can't see. I rule the things you can't see. Because the letting go card is about moving away from fear and romance. And I mean it in all ways. If you think you're aging out, if you think your eggs are dying, if you think, whatever your negative story is about love, about Venusian things, about receiving validation, receiving that feeling of community, I think it's time to start to rewrite the story. Because look at our 44. This is really about like building a new story in love. Because if you look at the movement card, it's a 9. And this epiphany offers you a really an opportunity to transition into a new energy. Because this is Teresa's now representing worry, and the horse is running away from her. I want to offer it this time because the horse here is really about Sagittarian energy. It's about having faith in a different time. And I have been talking about for years. You guys have watched me on Lada's channel say that Spirit has shown me that people will experience their greatest loves, their greatest personal successes, their greatest professional successes in later chapters and in their 60s. Shelley, Stephen, and my birthday is Ash Wednesday. First time since the 60s. I thought you were saying you were 60 something, but let me offer it this way. Because for my Scorpios, this is a time to really connect with Spirit in a big way and start to understand. This is where the raven is Plutonian. This is where the raven has gone into the dark part of life. And I've picked that skull clean. There is no more work to be done. It's just focus on your vision. And I want to offer this because oftentimes the human can't visualize their happiness, but you can describe it. I feel it content. I feel at peace. I feel safe. I feel secure. I trust. I know when there is resistance or when there's a low point that on some level, there's an opportunity for deeper awareness. This is where I want to go with Scorpio because something's going to shift for you. And think about this, okay? The nodes are traversing your sign, the South Node. And to me, this is really, again, this energy of being egoless to other people's opinions. Scorpio rules other people, other people's opinions, other people's money. I feel like this is a little bit about being impervious to that. So you can see the movement within your own realization, bringing about something within the material world. Okay, let's go on to our Libras. Can't believe how many birthdays we've all had together. I remember when Stephen was just turning 50. Shelley, oh, you can get Social Security now. All right, here we go. I can't believe sometimes how old I am. It just blows me. Libra. Thank you. Thank you, Tebow. I forgot to sing my Libra. All right, here we go. Greatest part of, I want to say this. My life really started to cook with gas, and I really felt like I was starting to be me when I was 54. And I was building at 52. I was still doing the fairs, and it was still seemed like I didn't even know how it would happen, but I kept putting the intention out there. And that's what I'm trying to really have you guys connect with, is it isn't about knowing how to get there. It's about the intention of taking no prisoners. I'm getting there. And this is why when Donald Trump ran for office, I called him the risk card, because his risk was believing in himself to the point where he blew all the opposition out of the way. That is the law of attraction and the law of allowing in play. It has nothing to do with the man. Okay, meaning the man of who he is. Okay, whoop, Libra, here we go. Yes, if you build it, they will come. That's what I chanted the whole time. I used to sit with my rose quartz. Actually, I used to sit with the selenite, but I used it so much it broke in half. All right, here we go. Our first angel for Libra is Adriana. The second is Layla. The third is Bridget, and the final is Ariel. So much change in those 50 years, Shelley. Oh my goodness. Like basically from the horse and buggy to the car, and now we're all over space. It's amazing what man can do. And if we really look at what man can do out of balance, imagine what man can do in balance. Adriana is being joined by the perception card. Layla's being joined by the eagle. Bridget's being joined by the fire fairy, and Ariel's being joined by the love card. Oh, my little Libras. My Libras. Okay, this is what I want to say. Adriana is leading you to the answers to your dreams through your perceptions, through your intuitions, and through your thoughts. And now it's time to connect. It's time to really connect to your perception, because Libra is a partnership sign, right? Libra is a sign of, like Cancer in some respects, it wants to make everybody happy. And sometimes in wanting to make everyone happy, you're like, okay, I'm making you happy. Do you notice I'm making you happy? Because now I think this connection to spirit with your intentions is to feel the ebb and the flow, the give and the receiving, the I scratch your back, you scratch mine. And I want to offer it this way, because no offense to mankind, but by nature, mankind doesn't really think fairly. We're all very self-focused, whether we believe it or not. Because when I look at Libra and I look at, in the angel's advice, Bridget asking me to say, how optimistic am I really that my intention will even happen? Because when we know someone for a long time, we can't help but think they won't change, or that they're like this, or they're going to respond like this. And inadvertently, when we start to focus in on, well, that's what it was like, we kick in the laws of attraction. So, Libra. Ariel is offering you an opportunity to say, you know what? I'm not going to focus in on anything but love. And I want to offer it this way, because love is not about good times. It's really not about all hearts and flowers. Sometimes love is just being kind in the midst of disruption. It's being the kind of partner that doesn't beat you up. And this is one of the things, I watch a lot of these home shows, and now Magnolia Network is on my, free on my cable. And I'm watching reruns of the shows I watched the first time. And I realized that Joanna is very much herself. It's not like she lets Chip just run around all over and be crazy. She calls him a dork. She tells him he's silly, but she also laughs him and doesn't get too cuckoo about it. She doesn't overdo it. Because I want to say for Libra, I think your perception here is really sometimes about perfectionism. I can't help but think it. Libra wanting the balance. Oh, everything will be so perfect if we do it this way. Sometimes it's messy, So your intention is to feel love. Your intention is to feel connection, to feel optimistic about that, not perfection in it. And I know normally we say that's Virgo, but I got to tell you, there's something about Libra that the underbelly of Libra, when it gets resentful because I've been fair and you haven't, that's the part I'm talking about, because I think we can just be fair to yourself. Be fair to yourself. And I want to say this too, because I do think more loving experiences are coming your way. And I think that is because your perception has changed. There's absolutely no way you can feel love while you're focused on the lack of love. It's oil and vinegar. You can shake it up for a minute. So that's why I'm going back to this idea of going, thank you, Spirit, for helping me to feel safe in my own happiness, to actually feel safe in love, which is the most dangerous territory there is in the human experience, honestly. You'd be better walking through Boogeyman Town, in the light of day with everybody pointing a gun at you, and you'd probably be safer. Did it, Janine? You're kidding. Oh my goodness. I kind of took it as a time when that I'd kind of worn that selenite out. I might have put as much energy into it as possible. And then I moved on to my rose quartz, which I super love. Okay, here we go. On to our Virgos, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Virgo trines Capricorn. So this is a wonderful opportunity to just even, whatever planets you have in Virgo, your rising, your sun, your moon, or a stellium, to really take advantage of this trine that's happening. And you kind of I would think, get a little bit of a double whammy, because we have the nodes trining Venus and Mars on Friday. So setting an intention, Virgo, for something you really love and want to experience. You may want to buy a new couch or something fun for your home. It doesn't have to always be love between humans. All right, here we go. Virgo, our first angel is Crystal. The second is Merlina. The third is Patience. And the final is Rochelle. Crystal is being joined by the Letting Go card. Merlina is being joined by the Dragon. Patience is being joined by the Swan. And Rochelle is being joined by the Burden card. The first thing I do when I look at this is I feel as if there's this awareness in Virgo that you're wanting to follow your heart. You're wanting to allow yourself the privilege of some sort of expansion into the unknown. This week is really great for romance and creativity, and for things that feel luxurious and warm and cozy and fun, and it's really kind of challenging because Mars is saying, this isn't going to drop on your head. You've got to claim it. You've got to have the courage and the pioneering spirit to take action on what you want. So this is where I'm going with this, because I have the Letting Go card and I have Crystal here, and I felt almost as if there was this battle between you and your head and your heart, and saying, I want to have faith, but how do I make sure to have faith? And, my bills get paid and there's gas in the car. I have not driven a car in like 2.5 years because I didn't drive enough. I gave up my car. I didn't realize gas is $5.17 a gallon right now. So there's this little part of Virgo that for me is saying, right now, maybe it's not about trying to set an intention or or take action on something you want, but rather anchoring in the dynamic that you're ready to start the chapter of moving away from the fear towards what it is you want to experience. And that could be something that's just as simple as more ease, more flow in your life, more free time. You know, people who work a 40, 60-hour work week come home and, you know, if you have to clean your house and take care of life maintenance, you get no real time to enjoy pleasures. So I feel as if Merlina saying you're confused and indecisive is about really here is about taking action in a calm way, meaning that action doesn't mean I'm going to jump up and quit my job, but start musing about what it feels like to start to build what it is that you want to experience. Because in the angel's advice is the patience card, which is about observing your own transformation. And I think this is part of what might be hard for Virgo, because Virgo, you know, has got this reputation for being dutiful and dependable and practical. And now this is really about fusing the idea that your spirituality is a practical tool within the repertoire of the things you do to create your experience on this planet. It's why the Virgo Pisces axis is what it is. It's bringing the spiritual into the material and bringing balance. So this week, it may feel a little challenging for you to feel solid in your heart's desires, but I think this is really more, again, about going into that space of saying to spirit, I am willing to step into the unknown, to recognize that I have fear about that. But what I'm going to try to do my best is receive my happiness in all ways. Don't even just try to describe what that happiness is. It's more about this sort of, I feel like it's a baton pass because of the nodal structure, again, making a trine at the end of the week to Mars and Venus. I feel like there is, I'm literally going to say it for Virgo. I think there's the potential that by the end of the week, there's some evidence, there's some clue, there's a sign from spirit that the things you, and I'm going to ease. I'm going to this idea of feeling more at peace within my life, more relaxed in my everyday activities, more, I honestly feel like it's like a vacation-y feel. You know, like I want to feel like I'm more on vacation. I don't want to feel the hustle and bustle and the blah, 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 and always feel like there's something behind me that I got to do. So I really want to offer that mantra of saying, thank you for allowing me to experience my happiness with ease. Okay, let's go on to our Leos. Can I tell you this Leo full moon was, oh my goodness, Lucky and I got into a marital spat the day, Monday. He was so over me, and he's just been having, you know, he's got Venus and Jupiter in Taurus, and Uranus is transiting his sign as well. And he's really become a snot about his food. Like he just wants to eat treats. So I got a little disciplinarian with him and wouldn't let him have his treats unless he ate his food, and he wouldn't eat his food. And we got in an argument. He literally was so mad at me. He was like, if he could have flipped me off, he would have. He was like this. And then he started growling at me. It was really funny. I mean, not funny at all. I got so mad I went to bed, left him in the other room. But we're over it now. We fixed it. I just have to be more consistent. All right, here we go. Leo, our first angel is Ray. The second is Athena. The third is Xana. And the final is Bethany. So I wonder, what did this Leo full moon illuminate for you? He totally snubbed me. He's still giving me side eye. We're not completely done with that. I can't even believe he's like living with the person. I've got to tell you, my cats were not like people. My cats were like animals. My dog. He freaking has such opinions. Okay. I think he has an Aries moon, by the way, which would make me his mom because I'm an Aries rising. Okay. Ray is being joined, Leo, by the Queen. Athena's being joined by the Mystery card. Xana's being joined by the Risk card. And Bethany's being joined by the Movement card. Okay. I know that Leo gets this bad rap for, kind of being the clown, the kid, the coming in the room going, look at me, look at me. But I really think that this is a time, that full moon was about putting an end of a cycle of you not receiving the things you want. This queen energy is not about a female to me. It's about reception. And it's really where your power comes from, because we need Leo to line up to their own power so that they can lead the zodiac. Okay, in joy, in fun. This is where we're all moving to, so that our challenges are aligned to our joy. So rather than feeling like, oh my God, I had to go to this job again and I have to drive through all this traffic. I hate that job. I hate this traffic. I hate this. I hate that. This is where we're changing. Now it's like, oh, I have to drive in traffic, but at least when I get to my job, I'm excited about getting there. Or at least whatever I'm doing, I have called it forth. This is the ultimate thing. So now Ray is saying, anchor in your power. Leo, this is a great week to take your energy and go to your power chakra, your heart chakra, and your throat chakra, and align them all to your reception, because it's time for you to make the choice to lovingly assert yourself and to risk everything, because you're being protected. And this is never about taking a physical action in the way of risk. It's aligning up emotionally and spiritually before you take the physical action, because spirit will then give you an inspiration that's aligned to what you want. Breathany's about self-care and there's movement. But I look at it this way, because it's about claiming your power, claiming something for yourself, claiming what it is you want to experience. You know, I'm surprised Venus isn't more powerful in Leo. I mean, I know she's exalted in Pisces, but this idea of her being in the house of romance and having this opportunity of Mars and Venus being together, I feel like it's really calling Leo forth to sit in meditation in a way that is claiming your happiness. Like, I really want to offer, like, even if you were to walk out in nature or to spend time in your own backyard with your feet, you know, in the dirt or on grass, and just take a real minute to say, Spirit, how much do I actually receive my bounty, receive my joy? Because my job as a Leo is to not only emulate that, but to use my access of Aquarius Leo to invite others to follow me, to take the risk of knowing that when I put forth what I want, when I start to say, you know, I don't know, I'm interrupting myself, but if I was a Leo, I would think that's how I created this work, because I was so intentional about it. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I've been figuring it out, like, you know, in the material world, one little bit at a time. But my intention, what I claim to the world, what I say to the universe constantly, is that bigger picture. So I feel like that's what Leo has to call forth. And if for some reason what you really, really, really want is to feel romance, you really want to feel valued in a relationship, then start focusing in on that, not in the lack thereof. Because I think something's going to reveal itself. Again, I think something's happening by the end of this week. It feels almost as if the stars are aligning in some way, in a polarizing way, where some people may experience something very challenging, but on the backside of the challenge is something really great. And it's their job to look beneath the surface experience. I don't know how I want to say that any better, but let's go on to our Cancers, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Here we go. All right, here we go. Cancer, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Thank you, Nicole. All right, here we go. Our first angel is Omega. The second is Aurora. The third is Crystal. And the final is Astera. Oh, how fun for Cancer. Omega is all about victory. Your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Stay aligned. Keep up the good work of staying aligned to your dreams and desires. All right. Omega is being joined by the Truth card. Aurora is being joined by the Water Fairy. Crystal's being joined by the Fear card. And Astera is being joined by the King. It's so funny because the first thing I kind of got was this. It doesn't, I mean, Omega and the Truth card don't necessarily speak intuitively on a card level. But as I looked at it, I thought, oh, Cancer's made a shift of some kind, being more brave about wanting to dig to their deeper truth, what they want, what makes them happy. And there's victory to be had within that. Because I got to tell you, it feels like everybody around you is like, good for you. Because there's Aurora saying, you're flying high right now. You're going to set an example for others. And this intuitive energy of starting to realize that the focus being too much out in a nurturing way to others rather than to yourself is not really helping the others. So where in the past you may have thought, oh, if I don't take care of this, if I don't do this, if I don't love on this, if I don't stick to whatever other people's expectations are of me, then something bad is going to happen. But that's not happening anymore because I feel like a tribal change for you. Almost like the people around you are like, good for you, Cancer. You go do you. We're so excited. We're going to sit here. We're going to applaud you and we're going to take a page from you because now you're moving away from fear. You know, this is the interesting thing about these signs, right? We talk about Cancer and its lower energy being the crab crawl, right? Doesn't really make a lot of progress. And at the same time, one of the most intuitive signs in the zodiac by nature. So where's the challenge? It is in, and that's why Capricorn and Cancer are on that side. It's anchoring the Capricorn energy, making your intuition, making your feelings not based on fear, but on the empowerment of your own success and victory. And as you take care of yourself, you actually are nurturing people more efficiently because they are seeing you and your energy step up to a place where you are feeling more joyful. You know, while we love the idea of being a good parent or being a good human, if we're not good to ourselves, then there comes some sort of place where we lose we hit a ceiling. We're like, what about me? Because Cancer. Astera saying, reach for the stars with your dreams and desires, and it is just and fair right now for you to step into this energy, to start to see that when you play in your truth and you do you, and you allow yourself to, and this is an individual feeling. It's almost like, let's say you're a Cancer and you love to go work out every morning, but you don't because you got to get up and you got to make sure the dog is walked or whatever your story is. And then you decide, you know what if just for once I just do me first? And you make an effort to do that. I believe that whoever's on the other side in human form will actually applaud, appreciate, and feel less pressure to align to whatever your efforts are. Because I feel like if you're making efforts for yourself, then this is going to inspire others to applaud your efforts rather than having too much focus on somebody else and them feeling like they have to step up to your efforts. I hope that makes sense. All right, let's go on to our Geminis. Does anybody watch Big Brother in this group? I laughed so hard last night watching Big Brother. It was so fun. Lamar Odom is just a riot and a half on that show. Anyway, I like watching mindless stuff sometimes. All right, here we go. This is Gemini, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Francesca. The second is Akasha. The third is Athena. And the final is Yvonne. Hi, Jenny B. Look, we have 22 people in the room and 22 thumbs up. There's that 2 2s we're talking about, peeps. Oh, I got 23. Yay. Oops. Here we go, Gemini. Francesca says, what do you desire right now? Visualize it and it will come about. And don't get stuck in your story. That's the stag being stuck in the pride of an old story. Akasha, the teacher, is teaching you something about your perception. Athena is being joined by the Grail Knight, which is about love. So it's safe to lovingly assert yourself into the idea, is my perception aligned to my outcome? Because Yvonne, the card of vulnerability, is being joined by the horse. And the horse to me right now is very much representing Sagittarian energy. So let me offer it this way. Francesca says, what do you visualize right now? That your cooperation with what you want will actually bring it about. Now let's go deeper, because if you're focused on, I want Bob, I want Bob, I want Bob, I want Bob, but you've been telling the universe your whole life, I want to feel happy and loved and valuable, and Bob has not enough characteristics to give you that, then Bob might go away. Okay. And we might have to wait for Steve to show up, because here the stag right now, while it represents leadership, feels a little bit like I'm stuck in the old story. Yeah, but this happens. Yeah, but that happens. Yeah, but this guy did this or that girl did this. Because now Spirit is trying to align the lower version of Gemini's the monkey mind. So now Spirit is trying to teach you about your perception of things, because your perception is really creating your happiness. And it's an old adage we hear often, you know? So here now it's about time to lovingly assert yourself towards the idea that there's a reason why all of these things have happened, that as I have evolved, so have the desires I have for my intimate relationships and the connection to them. So I want somebody who can evolve with me, because now is really a time to be vulnerable to the higher concepts. This feels so Sagittarian to me, to actually travel into new realms of thought where I'm thinking, okay, maybe up until now, if I got what I thought I wanted, it wasn't really what I wanted long term. So now as I become more aligned to the evolved version of myself, I invite in a romantic partner who also has a thirst and a energy for evolution and will see and allow for my evolution versus constantly pigeonholing me into a certain energy. You know, that's really challenging when somebody, you know, let's say you've been walking through and you've been, you know, trying to look at the world with brighter eyes, and somebody keeps reminding you that you see things negatively. So I feel as if this is super important for Gemini to set an intention as Mars and Venus come together, as the man and the woman come together, and Neptune is making a very favorable conversation, then maybe it's time for you to think that, you know what, whatever I want to put together in the Mars-Venus energy, because it could be the courage to look at my own self-worth. It could be the bravery to be creative with what my own endeavors are. And with Gemini, it feels like it being brave in your love life and how you're viewing your love life and the compatibility and the viability of it, and being a little bit vulnerable to the story that, you know what, if it didn't happen before, that doesn't mean anything going to happen now or in the future. And my job is to be vulnerable to my future instead of keep going back to my past and recreating the same loop, because I'm part of the co-creating process. I always think of it as a triad. It's me, it's the community around me, and spirit, or the person. So, all right, let's go into our Tauruses. Oh, what a very, very busy next few 18 months or so, maybe less now, maybe 16 months with the nodes traversing your sign. It's going to make you hungry for the things you want. All right, here we go. Here we go. Taurus, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Jenny B, we love you back. Whoop. Shelley, when you say you found your mark, is this the relationship that you're talking about? I kind of haven't been too privy to the chat. All right, here we go. Taurus, our first angel is Caressa. Oh, happy birthday, 2/22/22. Put a lot of really put some oomph in that day to put an intention out there to the universe. Okay, here we are. Shelley, the North Node is in Taurus now. It's transiting Taurus, and the South Node's in Scorpio. My personal nodes are on the Aries Libra axis. Okay, Taurus, our first angel is Caressa. So we're at the end of a life cycle. New happiness awaits. Here's Oceana talking about your emotional body and your intuitive body, taking action on that. Then we have Bethany, self-care. And then we have Aurora saying that new things are happening, fun, new things. Now, that's why I think that there's so much. I think Uranus is bringing in, when we don't go too cuckoo with these, like, oh my God, Uranus is going to blow up my life. And if we actually thought about how many times, God, I hate my life, I hate my life, I hate my life, blow it up. My life, every time it blew up, it got better, better, better. Whoop. So I don't think it's about actually detonating anything as much as it's intending. Jenny, it should be a magical day. Setting a magical intention for a new chapter. All right, here we go. Perception. Caressa is being joined by the Perception card. Oceana is being joined by the Novice. Bethany's being joined by Love. And Aurora is being joined by the Horse. That's like the third time in a row the Horse has come out in the final position. People's beliefs are being shifted right now. Taurus. Caressa says you're at the end of a life cycle, that new happiness awaits you, and to call upon your guides and your angels to help you. And here's the perception. You guys, I've told you my moon is in Taurus. And one of the things that I've been so challenged at and recently really paid attention to is, how much do I really receive my happiness? Or am I like some sort of, skipping stone that the minute I accomplish one thing, I go on to the next hole or the next problem or the next blah, blah, blah. Because I really believe that perception starts the experience process. So as I'm willing to look and say, I want this happiness. This is my new mantra. Thank you, Spirit, for bringing in all the things that make me happy, the things I know make me happy, and the things I haven't experienced yet that make me happy. Because it's really time to step into your emotional body and to give yourself a new chance, a new chapter. Taurus rules history. I know I got a Taurus moon. I can hang on to stuff, especially if people don't really apologize for it. But what I want to say is, I think that it is Taurus's opportunity to rewrite a story, to start to say, well, that was then and this is now. And it's time for me to really start to rise through my emotional body, realize I've been doing the work of awareness and setting intentions, and to start to really walk that path. Because that's what I want to experience, is not just the love of another, but to feel safe within the love of self, to trust myself, to feel like I like me, not I like me, but. Because Aurora is saying that you're flying high right now and that you will inspire others. And I think you'll inspire them because you've now come into a more spiritual idea of who and what you are, and that you're a fabulously flawed human being. And if you weren't flawed, what's the point? We're not here to be perfect. We're not here to experience love like this, because it wouldn't feel like that. If we don't do this, we don't do that, we don't know the feelings of elation. So sometimes I think Taurus inadvertently participates in their own uncomfortableness because they're still stuck in the history of what happened before. That's one of the things I kind of regret about my father. If I had studied astrology more with more awareness and actually knew his time of birth and his Neptune sun relationship, because I do believe the Neptune is right near his sun, I would have understood why he wasn't a very good leader, why he tended to be a little bit more of a party guy. And maybe I would have been a little calmer. But my Taurus moon wouldn't let that happen. So as I've gotten older and he passed away, 11 years ago now. I realized that my perception is what's going to lead my experiences. And now I'm willing to rise up, to be aware of what is my perception, and then move into a new direction if that perception isn't serving me. And if I can't move into the new direction, I'll take a nap or a break, or just give myself a little space to breathe. All right, let's go on to our Aries. Final sign for the week. Be sure everybody hit that notification button. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. There's going to be so much more content coming through, things throughout the week to help support your journey and to empower you to be a powerful co-creator. So here we go. Final sign, Aries. You know what? I just looked at that small, when you wrote nap sounds good, I thought nap sounds good because things will pan out if you take a nap. Get it? Flip the script with that, because the resistance will be off when you go to sleep. Okay, here we go. Aries, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Oceana. The second is Xana. The third is Archangel Uriel. And the final is Aurora. Wasn't this funny? Well, I say it's funny because my Aries rising, I'll tell you in a minute. Here you go. All right. Oceana is being joined by the perception card. Xana's being joined by the love card. Archangel Uriel is being joined. Archangel Uriel is being joined by the Baird. And Aurora is being joined by the truth card. Okay. So in this last little bit of time, my Aries rising has been challenged by Pluto. Okay. I'm 26 degree Aries rising. Pluto's at 27 degrees. We know it's been floating around me for years. It's also now floating. I shouldn't say floating. It is absolutely squaring my Mars in Libra. And I thought about what this means for me, because a lot of my, I'm 62 years old. I'm going to have a heart attack. I'm going to die, blah, 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 all those stories. I'm like, no, you know what? Am I going to transform my Mars energy? Am I going to take what I've learned and really start to understand my deeper motivations? Because I'm going to make a confession here in no uncertain terms. And this is very relevant to the Aries reading. When I went on Lada's channel, I didn't go on Lada's channel because I was an astrologer. I went on Lada's channel because I wanted exposure. I did not think that my face and I was going to be palatable to the youth of America or the world. And I wanted to have the opportunity to talk to the audience she had already built. She didn't invite me on her channel. She didn't go looking for me. She didn't find value in my work. And why should she? This was my Aries moving the story forward. Cut to 3 years later. I tried to make a connection with her. She just never responded. She doesn't have to respond. There's nothing forcing her to like me or want to work with me. She's got her own agenda. I got mad. We made a plan to do a video together. She ghosted me. And hence I ended up moving on to this channel. And during that period of time, I was angry at her and I wanted to lash out at her. And I wanted to say, how rude are you? Blah, blah, blah. But I realized, because I took time, what was my perception? What was my emotional body? This woman owes me nothing. Zip, zero, zilch. And for me to be angry at her because she didn't respond to me is not her bad. That's my fear. So now it's time for me to own my own perception, for me to say, really, are you holding yourself small, or does it matter? Because I really feel like this is Aries' opportunity to look at your emotional body, and are you honoring the deepest truth of your soul through your perception? Because now it's time for Aries to be the peaceful warrior, the spiritual warrior, the loving warrior. And you're being protected in this lifetime as you endeavor that. And it's time to transform your anger and frustration and start writing a new story that aligns to the deeper truth of who you are. Because as a spiritual warrior, you don't want to be angry. That's not really who Aries is, and it's not fair. It's not fair to say it to Aries all the time. This whole planet wouldn't even be, explored if it wasn't for the Aries energy. There would be no gladiators, and we need them, because now it's time for Aries to dig down to the deeper truth, and not just the truth of who you are, but what you have to offer the world with your bravery and courage. Because Aries never said they were perfect. And it's okay not to be perfect, because Aurora says you're flying high right now. Don't descend. You will soon inspire others. And the inspiration comes because you're willing to own you and not judge you, not crucify you, not throw you out with the yesterday's garbage, but rather to say, this is part of my evolution. And I chose this fiery sign because I am a spiritual warrior for truth. And sometimes when we get in the human experience and we're looking for others to join us in our truth, and we get this kind of wishy-washy agreement, disagreement, if Aries has truly been a little bit pushy in creating the relationship, then is it fair for Aries to villainize the other party when they don't align? So that's where I'm going, because I had to really dig deep. And that 3 years did offer me things, It offered me you guys. And I don't really care how large my platform is, although because it's not about the largeness, it's about the influence and the ripple effect. So if each one of you, each 26 of you that are out there right now, go out and with an intention to live your best life, you're going to create a better world here. And it's not selfish. It's the best way to do it. Because if you're trying to create a better world for somebody else, your world is going to get smaller. And then you're not going to be happy. And your ripple effect really is not going to be what you think it is. So that's what I have to say. I like spicy. I do. I remember when the acupuncturist told me I can't eat spicy food anymore. I was like, that's not going to happen. All right, guys. Thank you, Natalia. I love you guys too so much. I want to thank you again. I'll be here next week. Please hit the notification button if you haven't already. We're going to have some fun content coming out. Been working really hard behind the scenes to create some continuity and to give you stuff you can use and really employ in your lives to make them better. So I'm excited. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Stephen, good luck on your job. Your second job interview tomorrow. We'll be sending lots of love to you. I'll be sending love to everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thibaut, so great to have your energy back in the room. Thank you for joining today. And I'll see you next week, guys. Peace.